But in saying this, I actually did see someone else's daily routine yesterday, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Cool to know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Maybe you could start this one today.
Okay. Well, do you want me to ask you these questions?
Well, we can bounce it around a little bit.
All right. Well, what do you do when you first wake up?
When I first wake up?
Okay, no,
so let's give people an understanding of what we're talking about first,
Yes.
instead of being a teenager and rushing straight in and lasting 2.5 seconds. Let's slowly ease into the program today, Broccoli.
Sure thing.
Yeah?
Yep.
Do that?
Okay.
All right. So first, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Matt's daily routine.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even though my daily routine, it's probably to get people to think about their own daily routine.
Yeah.
And then what do other people do? You know, like why? It really intrigues me. And sorry to take over your space.
No,
of talking,
I don't care.
but it does interest me why some people achieve so much more than others, and they could be in exactly the same industry.
Yeah.
Like I do think about that a lot, and this is even before I became reasonably good at real estate. I was like, why would John McGrath achieve so much more than James Fitzroy?
Yeah, that's a made-up person, by the way.
Yeah, at Bankstown
Yeah.
real estate.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference? Or you can get a high performer in the same company that writes 5 times the amount of most of the company. Like, why is that?
Do you think it's because of their daily routine?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it's the daily routine over a period of time, and how focused you are on valuing that. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Okay. What time do you wake up?
I wake up mostly. It depends. It's an energy thing for me. So
Because you don't wake up without an alarm, do you?
I don't use an alarm. No. So the reason I don't use an alarm is because if you're not waking up yourself, then your tank isn't full. So your body, and the best way to outline that is, so I hurt my elbow.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and it's swollen.
It's pretty bad.
It is. It's getting better now. So it's like half the swollenness as it was before. And it's got like water in there and things like that.
It looks like tennis elbow.
It does, yeah. But I've been still training on it and things like that. And it's, but I'm not telling my body to fix my elbow within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So if I had an alarm clock and said, body, it needs to be fixed now, by this time I'll set an alarm clock for it. The alarm clock's sort of irrelevant because the body's working within the space it needs to fix it at the right time.
Yeah.
Same as a tooth. So if you lose your tooth, you don't set an alarm clock to say, hey, I need the next tooth out by ding, and put an alarm clock on. Your body works in its own rhythm, and everybody's slightly different.
Yeah.
But I think, sure, everybody's slightly different, but everybody who wants to achieve something do slightly the same things.
Yeah.
So you keeping up with that, Broccoli?
Yeah, so
I can see you like looking
You're
a bit
saying like
lost.
they get up a bit earlier, like if people that
Well, there's
really
common
wanna
threads.
Yeah.
I reckon success leave clues
Yeah.
for sure. There's common threads. You could study somebody who is in your industry and they've achieved this, and you'll pick up some things in there that are like, okay, with 20 people who've done the same thing, there's a common thread with all of them. Maybe we'll talk about some of those today.
We will.
So I don't set an alarm clock. The only time I'll ever set an alarm clock is, say I've got to go to the airport and I've got to be there at 4:30. I'll set an alarm clock for 3 o'clock because I don't naturally wake up at that time.
Yeah.
But to compensate that as well, because I think it's very dangerous not listening to your energy levels and wanting to perform. So I'll go to bed at 7:30 the night before. So I'll try and move my body clock a little earlier. Yeah. So I still feel, you never feel perfect when you wake up earlier than you usually do, but you can adjust yourself. And if you want to adjust yourself, so let's say you got a job as a pastry cook. I used to be a pastry cook.
Really?
Well, actually, that's not right. I used to be an apprentice pastry cook. Well, first it was just dishwasher, and then it was like first year apprentice. I couldn't stand it. Yeah. So, but I had to get to work. So the pastry cooks got to work at like 1:30 in the morning to make all the food for the day. And I used to get there about 4, maybe, to like start cleaning up all the things that they've done and put all the lids on the pies, like the tops. It was the most boring job in the world. I used to wish I was like, do you remember Bewitched? No,
No,
it's
I've
way
never
too
seen
young.
that.
And she used to go, and things would go boom. And I used to sit there going hundreds of pies next in these racks, and putting egg. You got to dip each one into the egg and then put it on top of a pie, and you do, I don't know, 18 or 20 something pies to a tray, and then put them all back in the rack and then start cooking them. Anyway, so I used to wish I was Bewitched like that, and just could do them all, because my ADD would be kicking in so hard. Anyway, but if you got a job as a pastry cook, no one naturally gets up at 1:30 in the morning.
Nah.
Usually.
Yeah.
You know, that's why the sun goes down and the sun comes up. That's sort of like your energy rhythm
Yeah.
a little bit. But you would have to reset your body clock to start living in that order. But if you want full energy, you've got to counterbalance that somewhere. So same as myself. It's, let's say I wake up at about 4:30 naturally, maybe 5. If I just do nothing and went to bed at a normal time, I'd wake up somewhere around 4:30 to 5. But I want to be at the gym by 5:30 usually. So it takes me about an hour just to make a shake, do your stuff. Not rush. I like to keep a really steady energy moving into the day. So like I'll go train. So that's why I take an hour to lead up to training and then get my energy moving, train, and then I'll start, then I'll come home and I'll almost re-engage my energy down. So I'll just cruise around, do a bit of stuff, and then I'll be at work by, say, 9:30, something like that.
Yeah.
But for me, if you start training and you haven't had enough sleep, you can feel it in one instant. Like you just don't want to be there. Like you almost got to like push yourself too hard. Whereas I like to be engaged, and when you're engaged because your energy is so full, it flows much easier.
Yeah.
Yep. So
he's great. Are you ever a fan of like waking up and then going back to sleep? Do you ever do that?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I was saying just then. Going to bed is just as critical as getting up. Yeah. People talk about getting up early. So The Rock goes, and whether you're a fan or not, I was not so much now, but it's like, get up at 3:30. There's lots of people, Eric Thomas, lots of them, get up at 3 a.m. Forget it. Like we don't know what time they go to bed though.
Yeah, exactly.
If they say they had 2 hours sleep, that's awesome. That's not an achievement. Might be to them. But to most people, if you got insomnia and whatever else, or you just got way too much energy or whatever, I don't know. But your body needs a certain amount. So like it needs pretty much a third of your day in sleep to recharge your batteries, like driving a Tesla car and just not charging the battery. Like we have batteries. Ever thought about how we get our energy?
Sleeping.
Not coffee. Sleeping, eating, thoughts, all sorts of stuff. Yeah. So if you're not replenishing the tank, where's it going to come from then?
Well, people think it comes. Well, that's when people have coffees a lot. And they get energy like that.
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point. I don't drink coffee ever.
I do.
Yeah, but it's a stimulant.
Yeah.
Like and people get so used to that. And we were just talking about that, recalibrating your body. Your body will literally acclimate to whatever habits you have. And the outcome of those habits will be seen later. Yeah. So we're going to bed, and I sort of like, we're talking about getting up, but as soon as I hear getting up, I think going to bed. Like that's how my brain works, because I'm that focused on making sure I have enough sleep. So if I have to get up earlier, I'll instantly go, what time do I need to go to bed? Whereas some people will stay up till 11 o'clock at night and then wonder why they're tired or they're a bit burnt out or whatever else the next day, or you do that over a period of time, you're going to be depleted for sure. So sleep would probably be number one for me.
Yeah. Okay, so you get to work at around 9:30. What are you doing when you first get to work?
Let's go back to that for a sec. So I'll train, and whether the training session was amazing, was okay, I'll go train. But then I'll come back and I'll eat the same thing.
Every day?
Every day.
For breakfast?
Porridge and water.
Porridge, yeah.
Porridge and water every day with a bit of protein powder in it. And I'll have a shake as well. And then I'll cruise a bit, then have a shower, and then get ready. But the whole time in my mind, I'm like trying to slow the noise down. So like I like to start the day as I saw Jeff Bezos talk about something the other day, and he said he just likes to start the day with a putter, like a putter of energy. Yeah. That's a really good description. I like to have it so it's like, when you have a sundae off and you're just like cruising around the house in your undies and you're just like, you've got no real place to be. It's like you're just sort of just enjoying the space around yourself. It's like that sort of real tempered energy. That's how I like to be, at least for the first hour to an hour and a half after. I might watch a bit of TikTok maybe.
Is that because when you get to work, your phone's going at 1,000,000 miles per hour and everything just goes at 1,000,000 miles per hour?
Yeah, because once you put your work clothes on, I think you start to step into a different frequency. It's like ready for work. Then I'll get dressed and I'll get to work like 9:30. Then I'll have an omelette. And my whole day is pretty much eating right the way through it. But I'll have an omelette and then I'll go through with the team quickly what needs to happen, our 20 and 20, our current listings, just to get a sense of is everything in place where it needs to be, who's likely to call, who's not, and then I'll make the harder calls first. The calls that I need to make in the day.
Why do you do that?
Get them off my plate.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, you carry them through the day and they're like a big energy drainer because it's on your mind the whole day. It's like carrying a backpack around with 50 kilos in there because you know you got to deal with it, but it's there and you're like, So I like to do all of those first and get them done, and then I like a certain amount of appointments in the day. So my day pretty much revolves around sleeping, training, food, and appointment levels. As soon as I have more than, because my appointments are really high quality these days. Most people are pretty much going to list, or most people are getting closer to buy. 4 appointments a day is about right for me. More than that, I start to get too jammed in. My whole objective of the day, even though it doesn't always happen perfectly, is not to feel overwhelmed or that reactive, anxious feel. So that's more important to me than doing 10 appointments going, yes, I'm a champion, I did 10 appointments. Yeah. For me, it's like, how many key appointments do I need to do consistently to feel like enjoyment around it? Like to actually want to go to somebody's house and be really present and be there and not think I've got to be somewhere else in 45 minutes and I've got to quickly get through this. I lived years doing that.
You do not recommend it?
Doesn't feel great.
No. But did it play its role in you becoming successful?
It did. It helped me understand.
Yeah. So like if someone was in your position that you were in like 10 years ago, what would you say to them? Like, should they be doing 10 appointments a day or whatever?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I think you need to work really fast and be busy, because I think busy creates busy. Yeah. You do need to prospect. You do need to deal with people. You probably need to understand it's a good question, because when you're dealing in different spaces of your career, like the earlier ones, you do need to meet more people to create the volume. But I think you need to work out what that number is with still feeling great, because you don't want to get 2 years down the track and just feel like, oh, this is all just too much. Like you just feel very disconnected. Yeah. So 5 to 6, if you had to do 5 to 6 and you're newer, I guess that would be about the number. For me, 3, 4, but they're ones that are going to lead to somewhere usually. So it's slightly different. So double that would be the maximum. Okay. Yeah. I think when people have an ideal day or an ideal week, so ideal weeks I don't do. Like I've learnt you can't do them because you don't know what's going to happen on Thursday at 11 o'clock. You don't know what Thursday is going to bring. So ideal day is good, but the ideal day needs to be really simple. So exactly what I said then, like what you said as well. Yeah. Wake up, train, hour at home, and then like work. I mean, you can't really ideal day work too much apart from your
especially in your job,
apart from your prospecting time. So if you're committed to do an hour of prospecting or 2 hours of prospecting, just where does that fit in? I wouldn't do much else in my ideal day because the rest is like, broccoli's going to ring and kids are going to ring, or clients are going to ring, and you want a bit of flexibility to say, I'll be there. Yeah. So one thing I think in my career that I've done super well is being accessible. Like I'm full today and I've got to see you next on Tuesday. Like I don't really do that too much. Like I'll probably move it one day if I need to. Yeah. But I think having I've seen so many ideal days over time is like 15-minute blocks or 30-minute blocks, and they're all itemized out. You can't, because you might go to see a person, you might need to be there 2 hours with them, because it's an older lady that wants to have a chat and just have a cup of tea, and that's the way she's going to make a decision around dealing with you, because she needs to feel like someone's engaged with her emotionally, and having a cup of tea is more valuable than listening to how amazing they are with all their stats.
Yeah. Well, you said last week on the podcast that you need to treat every interaction like it's the first interaction.
Yeah.
So if you're worried about being somewhere in 45 minutes, you're obviously not going to do that.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's why everyone needs to work out where are they at in their career, what sort of volume do they need to achieve, but what sort of space do they need around each appointment that they're going to do. So I would definitely look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then once we're like through the day, through your appointments,
Yep.
what are you doing like to end the day sort of thing?
My brain is gone after 4 o'clock.
Yeah, there's
my
a
brain
video
is gone.
of Matt on Monday or Tuesday. He
I
was
might
so
do an
tired.
appointment at 4 or 5 if I had to.
Yeah.
I'd love to finish my appointments by then, but then I just finish up and then I'll go train again later if I can. So, and it's interesting because as soon as it gets to seven, I almost am like, no, it's too late to train. So I'll go 6 is the ideal time for me, and then or I'll see the kids or something like that. Like I'll be doing something that's of high value in my life, and then if it's training. So if you go, say, 7, takes me half an hour to get there, train for half an hour, and then finish, wind down, come back, haven't really eaten. So then it starts to eat into the sleep time. Yeah, and then you don't get to bed till, because it takes about half an hour to 45 minutes to be in bed and just start winding down. So all of those things, I'm pretty focused on those. Like I know I can sort of, and I'm not willing to compromise too much on that sleep part. So I'd rather miss the afternoon of training if it gets too late and be more prepared for sleep than go do abs half-hearted because you're really distracted because you need to get home. So that's pretty much what I like to own. For me, it's more about owning energy than it is owning spaces of time first. So owning energy around optimum performance in the morning, hold that through the day, understand and accept that in the afternoon I'm not as good at performing as then my brain capacity is diminishing, and then it's all about training, kids, dinner, time, sleep, and then pretty much done.
So if someone's listening right now, like what would be, as you said before, like what would be like the 3 or what's some things they need to include in their day?
They need to?
Yeah.
So if you're in sales, prospecting, self-improvement, which is the gym, what you listen to is very important, but also your nutrition. So your nutrition needs to be, I reckon, up there with a high-performance athlete. Like I do, because our bodies, and I think sometimes we undervalue, like you could be anything, you could be a tradesman, but the mental, so there's a book called The Power of Full Engagement. It's a great book, and it talks about energy management, and they say that people in the corporate world or even in, sales of any sort, so that could be a business like a trade or whatever, where you're constantly getting calls nonstop, we handle 2 to 3 times the amount of stress as the best athletes in the world, because the best athletes in the world, they're on or off, training or off, on or off. They understand rest, whereas we don't. Like we're out there running, trying to get ahead in life, each client. There's no recuperation. So of course people are going to burn out. Of course people are going to start drinking too much and they're going to be like a mess. If you don't manage all of that around it with nutrition and drinking and coffee. Like I don't drink coffee, and the reason for that is, well, I don't see the point in trying to stimulate yourself. You can stimulate, and people love it, and it becomes this like highlight of the day. It becomes a highlight of the day. And I'm not being critical, so I don't think I am, but it becomes a highlight of the day when your day is so linear. And the coffee breaks it up. It gives you this little spike of, I feel great. And then, of course it's going to do that. But you're going to become dependent on that.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, you are.
Like that.
Yeah. Whereas if you are fueled inside already, you actually enjoy the feeling of no stimulants, because stimulants come and go. Like it goes up, it's going to come down. And it might not initially, but over time it will. And then people start to go, look, I want to give up coffee, and then they start getting headaches. Because they're so used to it. Your body will acclimate to any habit that you have. So think about that. Have the habit of a really well-oiled, high-performance, super healthy machine. Your body will acclimate to that very quickly, and you've got to make some decisions around that. Or you self-medicate with, coffee spikes through the day.
Yeah.
Have one in the morning, yes, whatever, that's fine. But people have it all day.
Yeah.
Like to keep this sort of fake high that's going on to perform, you're setting yourself up for failure. And then mix alcohol in there as well, and heaven forbid smoking, and all of this.
Yeah.
Like you are going to run, you will not sustain it.
No.
Life will make you stop somewhere.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. So
Do you stop taking phone calls when because in your own business is like your phone's ringing all, so you keep taking the phone calls
all the time?
Yep.
Because it's accessibility has been one of my things, and I do think that's one of the currencies that I have when people deal with me. Like I just had an owner call me. Then as soon as I finish this, I'll call them straight away. That accessibility, I think, is the thing that people like dealing with me for. I don't have this, and it was a great question you just asked as well, because some people turn their phone off at night. Some people, say not after this time. I don't. I get a bit of anxiety around it because it's just building up for later. People want a response. Sometimes they just want to talk to me and just say, everything going okay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of my job. When they engage me, they engage me. Yeah.
There you go.
Anything else you got to add to that?
Well, I find it interesting, like even when you are on like your little wind down thing, at the end of the day, you're still like servicing people.
Always.
Yeah. And that would be your advice to those agents, that they need, if they want to be in your position, they need to not turn off their phone at night time.
I think so. You got to find out what works for you. You might get a little couple of tips out of this, but we're all different. You like waking up at 7.
Yeah. And then I could edit at like 9 or 10 o'clock.
Yeah, you do.
Or something like that.
So your body clock's different than mine. But I think there's also a trade-off as well. So like sometimes we do need to change our habits a bit or coach ourselves into a different space if you want to get up early. I think there's some power in getting up early. Yeah. So if you get up at 6 instead of 7 and slowly move your clock around to that, your body will change to do that. And you've got this extra hour potentially you wouldn't have had before, but you do have to move your sleep around as well. Yeah. And it's something about the morning for most people that has this acceleration feel around it. Yeah. There's less noise, less stuff, total focus. And I think there's one of the common threads that I've seen with successful people is they do like to rule the morning.
100%.
There you go.
There you go. Hope that helps some people.
Thanks, Buckley.
Everyone knows. By the way, I want to say that there's a video that we did last year on Matt's morning routine. So if you do want to go watch that, it's got everything in there.
We might do a new one sometime.
Maybe.
Thanks.
So.
Bye.